Sean Sheen here for Severe MMA, alongside Bec Rawlings, who fights at Bellator Dublin this weekend. Bec, something I've wanted to ask you for years. When I started out like 8 years ago or something, you were the very first one to ever share something I wrote. You fought in the same card as Rose and Amunis, and I wrote an article about you and Rose having like really good fans and like really bringing the fans along with you. Is that something like you from day one you've talked about? I think it was only like your second fight or something like that. Is that something you've really brought with you, that the fans are with you and part of your journey?
Absolutely. I always say I wouldn't be here without my fan base. Their support and just their love and support is really what's given me the opportunities for me to grow within the sport. So I appreciate them very much. And it's good to have, a backing, people they've got your back and believe in you. It makes you want to perform better. And so it's great to have a good fan base. And I've always tried to grow it ever since Invicta, and it has grown. So it's pretty cool.
I suppose, over the last few years you've been fighting in, obviously we were in the UFC and went and fought in bare knuckle boxing. What was maybe the decision to come back to MMA and come back and sign with Bellator?
Look, when I signed with bare knuckle, I always had intentions of coming back to MMA. I didn't like leaving on that sour, with that sour taste in my mouth. So always had something to prove and come back. But I was enjoying my time in bare knuckle. I love that sport, and I'd still like to fight there if I can. But I fought my contract up with bare knuckle, and I hadn't renegotiated anything, and I was just sitting in limbo, and I just didn't want to sit around any longer. I like to fight. I like to stay active. So I was like, you know what? I think this is a sign for me to go back to MMA and start mixing it up back there. And Bellator offered me a fight, and so I took it.
I suppose, Artem Labov is obviously from Ireland as well, and he does the bare knuckle boxing. We've heard him speak about it. And we hear, Joe Rogan talk about it, and it's maybe a little bit safer than MMA because you don't have the hand wraps and everything. As someone who's done both, what do you think are the differences in terms of maybe safety between BKB and MMA?
Look, bare knuckle is a lot nicer on your body, as in joints and injuries and things like that. Getting ready for a boxing fight is very glamorous. It's very pretty. You just don't have the injuries and the aches and stuff that you do get with MMA. But in terms of injuries, definitely, I think you're at more risk getting ligament injuries and stuff like that from wrestling and things like that. But it really just depends how you approach a fight. With my bare knuckle fights, my objective was to hit them and not get hit. So I stay relatively safe. I busted my hands up a bit, but that's about it. It really just depends on how you approach the fight. I don't think one or the other is more dangerous or safer than the other. We're fighting. Someone is across from you trying to punch your face in. So it really just depends how you approach that fight.
There's someone about to hit you here, but we're, over the last few years, you've kind of had a bit of a connection with Ireland. I think you've been training SPG and, Conor McGregor and everything like that. What did it mean to you? Was it always something you kind of wanted to do, to fight in Ireland?
Yeah, look, when I came out for the last Bellator event, I came out and watched the show, and as soon as I walked into that arena, I looked around. I told my friend Bella, who's here right now, I'm gonna fucking fight here. We're fighting here, and just to feel the atmosphere of the crowd, the energy, it gave me goosebumps. Especially when Peter Queally walked out and the crowd just went nuts singing his song. You couldn't hear his opponent's song, and I was like, I've got to fight here. You can't fight like shit in front of a crowd like this. They're just going to uplift you, and I felt at home here. So as soon as they announced this card, I said, I want to get on that. I want to get on it.
Peter Queally's not on this card, and I see a few people fighting around for Zombie. They want that walkout. Are you going to steal it? Are you going to take it?
Look, I was going to steal it. I've always loved that song. I used to sing it on SingStar and just kill it. So it's always been my song. But no, look, I think it's Peter's. You can't. That's his. It's always going to be his now. So I'm walking out to an Aussie classic, Men at Work, Land Down Under. So I think that's going to get the crowd. The crowd's going to get going. You can't not sing to that song. So I thought I'd stick to my Aussie song.
As we know, last thing here, the fight this weekend. Ellen is a tough fight, a lot of experience like yourself as well. What are you expecting out of the fight on Saturday night?
Sorry, what was that?
Your opponent obviously has a lot of experience as well, like yourself. What are you expecting out of the fight?
Look, stylistically, it's a great fight. She's a striker. She's not going to try and, close the distance. She's going to actually try and fight. But, I went to San Diego for my fight camp. I've put in a really hard camp. I've pushed myself to train against some of the best girls in the world. So, I'm ready. I'm ready to bring it to her. I think I've got the experience. I think I've got, I'm more of a veteran. I've had more experience against world-class fighters, so I think that's definitely my edge. She's young, she's hungry, but I think I'm just going to drown her. That's what I'm going to go out there and do. I'm just going to drown her. Too much pressure. Go back to being my aggressive bully self. So, I don't think she's going to cope with the pressure.
Bec, best of luck on Saturday night. Thank you very much for your time.